I'm so glad we did just what he said. He said we'll win the league. He said so. I'm in love with him and I feel fine. Vinicius Jr. I'm so glad we did just what he said. We'll win the Premier League. He said so. All right. Woo. We're in the fucking quarterfinals of the World Cup. This is where it gets spicy and juicy, and I love it so much. Let me put my webcam on. Let me put my webcam on. Why is my webcam not working? I said that, man. I'm telling you, if I did these sports streams more often and like clipped it I guarantee you will hear time and time again. I swear on everything I deem holy. I swear, time and time again, you will hear your boy make a comment, sometimes super verbose, and then the commentator will come behind after and I got desktop audio. No, 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 no. And they will say exactly what I say. The other day for Portugal versus Morocco, I had mentioned the whole part. I was like, dude, it's not just the fact that they're not starting Ronaldo for the first time in a knockout game in 16 years. It's the fact that they went with Ramos, who didn't have a lot of international experience. And then, freaking couple minutes later, Ian Dark puts it exact same way that I did. Uh, when I was streaming the other day, I was talking about Brozovic. There wasn't even in a Croatia game. I was like, dude, speaking of fitness, anyone see those Brozovic numbers? Jesus, man's an engine. And then freaking whoever's doing this, maybe this is Ian. No, I don't know. Why is my webcam not working? Or is it twerking? I hope it's not twerking because it's not good at it. I just don't understand why my webcam stopped working. Okay, let's go. Meow. I'm in love with him and I feel fine. I'm so glad that Jurgen is a red. I'm so glad we did just what he said. He said you'll win the league, He said so. Alright, hold on. I'm almost got my stream set back up. I don't know what happened to my webcam. I had to completely unplug it. Then I had to remove it in OBS and hold on, we're almost done. I'm in love with him and I feel fine. Buttermilk pancakes on a Wednesday morning. Rainy, sunny, and all the morning. All right, Luka Modric has the ball for Croatia. We're 9 minutes into the game. He plays it left to Perisic. Perisic is running along the left touch line. He tries to cross it in the box. It's overhit. It'll go all the way across, almost to the opposite corner flag. Now Brazil has it. Vinicius Jr. with it deep in his own third. He drops it to Thiago Silva, who plays it to Marquinhos. The very familiar duo. I wonder how many games Marquinhos and Thiago Silva played together at center half. Ice cold water is so good. Okay, Brazil's attacking. Vinicius has the ball. Ooh, I think he got worried about. Oh, what a tackle that by Casemiro to retain possession in the 9 minute 20-second mark. Vinicius probably could have gotten a shot off. I think he feels the tackle coming, so he rushes it. And then, yeah, dude. Oh, what a pick out. Offside, though. Makes it easier to pick someone out when they're offside. Oh, that's a fucking dangerous ass cross from Croatia. That. Perisic, man. Oh, it's a dangerous cross that comes in low. I actually think Perisic is thrown off by the other Croatian player attacking it. So we're in the 12th minute. It's like 12:30, 12:20 ish when that happened. And a good cross comes on, and Perisic gets on the end of it, but he redirects it wide of the far post. But I think it's because he kind of probably was thrown off by the other Croatian also attacking it, not expecting that Croat, to win it. Uh-oh, Croatia should win this. Militao's not doing good. First, Militao goes to drop to Allison, and he fires it in Allison. You should never, even if you know your goalkeeper's world class and really good with his feet, you should never fire it into him with that much zip. But Militao says, "Fuck it, bam!" And Allison, because he's exquisite and gorgeous and handsome and the best on the planet, he deadens it, no problem, gives it back to Militao. Militao then tries to do this like flippy flappy, and he gets the ball taken from him. Don't you put my boy Allison under pressure like that, is all I'm saying. Croatian corner isn't very good. It doesn't beat the first man. Brazil easily, I think Richarlison clears it. Uh-oh. Dude, Brazil's sloppy on the ball again. Sleeping. Luka Modric has the ball. He tries to cross it. It's dealt with by Militao, and then it's headed away by Casemiro for the time being. Dude, a couple times now, Brazil has just dawdled on the ball and gotten it yoinked. I think Luka might have even considered shooting that if it was against almost any other goalkeeper on planet Earth. All right, Brazil with the ball now. After a decent little 4-ish minute flurry, especially by Croatia, it's now kind of set. Oh, that's smart defending from whoever that was. Sosa maybe. Ooh. All right, Croatia has the ball for now. Oh, great swarming from Brazil. That chain pressing, as they call it in the business. Now it's with Thiago Silva in Brazil's own half. It's funny, Casemiro, who is well experienced and has won everything. Yo, what up, mi amigo? It's been a bit since I've heard from you, man. What you been up to? You and the family get the tree up yet? Neymar with the ball. That's a great pass into the feet of Paqueta. Brazil's still moving it side to side. Now it's with Vinicius Jr. on the far left hand side. He goes back into the center to Neymar. Neymar's now going to have to draw. Great pressing that from Palisic. Oh, I was going to say, is Casemiro is super experienced, but it's funny for him to be telling Thiago Silva, probably the most, probably if you don't just count age, he is, and you count like everything, titles won, leagues been in, teams been in, countries been in. Thiago Silva is the most experienced player at this World Cup, and definitely the most seasoned and accomplished. And so I don't know. He's just the one person that you don't need to be doing like calm down, calm mate. It's pretty funny. Gotcha. Well, luckily the last 2 days we haven't had any. Um, yeah, the fake one, other than me being endorsed by the tree farm industry and lobbyists all across Twitch, um, I'd say fakes are the way to go going forward. But yeah, again, I'm sponsored by the tree farm industry, so you know, got milk kind of thing, right? But that's good to hear. Have y'all already decorated it, or is it one of those like we usually will put up our tree and then put up some, but then we kind of over the course of a week or two, we put on some here and some there. Who do you think wins the Heisman? Yeah, for sure. Or if I ever get like a big house, I'd want to maybe do like um a real one, like a medium-sized real one, and then two fakes, two smaller fakes in different rooms. Okay, sweet. Yeah, that's kind of that's what we do too. We have a fake one. Um and I don't remember if it was pre-lit, but it is essentially now because there's like a layer of lights that we don't take off when we go to box it up. So they're ready to go plugged and play. Plugged and play. Yeah. Um me and my step pops were talking about that too. And so it's funny, the other day on Reddit there was a post, and okay, when you read it, I did this too where I was like, is this from a Oklahoma Sooners fan who's like begrudging because he's like it's one of those, he's got a point, but he's good build up from Barcelona, or Barcelona, Brazil. Um Vinicius Jr. on the left side of the box dribbles in, plays a good ball in the feet into Richarlison, who does brilliant center forward play where he pins his defender, lays the ball back off for Vinicius Jr., but then his shot goes straight into a Croatian. Um, but anyways, the post was about how it's like the Heisman. Uh, I thought he basically quotes what the Heisman's supposed to be about, and it's supposed to exemplify excellence in the sport, but also like integrity, and essentially you're supposed to be like a good ambassador for the sport, so to speak. And so it's one of those things. It's like, dude, I haven't heard this mentioned in my entire time. This sounds so like pedantic or soft. You know what I mean? Like, oh, this guy is a bully, but he has a point. Like it is, you are supposed to be a classy individual. And yo, what up, Captured? It's been a minute with you too, dog. Glad you could stop by. We're just talking. We're watching the World Cup, and we're talking Heisman Trophy for college football. But long story short, it was about how Caleb Williams from Southern Cal had wrote "fuck Utah" on his fingernails, and he made fun of Max Duggan, the quarterback of TCU, after he lost the Big 12 championship, and it just wasn't, you know what I mean? It's like there's no integrity there. So, anyways, the post had some merit, but everyone kind of like, was like, is this a Oklahoma fan who's just kind of like pissed? He's like butthurt he left, but he wasn't. He was like a BYU fan or a Utah something. But long story short, it was funny, but it did bring up the debate because they're like that whole integrity thing has gone out the window a while ago. Uh, because you have Cam Newton who won it, who had already stole a laptop. Johnny Manziel's, I don't think the extent of his partying was known, but it right, but like it was one of those where it's like, are we doing this? If anything, we need to give the fucking Heisman Trophy back to Reggie Bush. Ooh, nice. What are you gonna do on it? You gonna game on it, coder, or you gonna get to coding? Codering is what I almost said. Let's not talk about it. It's 10 in the morning. But anyways, yeah. I mean, I don't think we should take too much into the integrity thing, but I do think that Stetson, for the most part, has of the people there. Well, I don't know. I don't know. The one of the things that I will say is most of Stetson's stats have come in the first three quarters. Um, he has not played in several fourth quarters because of how Georgia's dominated. And so people have done some like commonality. Oh, Brazil. Oop. All right, that'd be a corner for Brazil. Um, but like for example, when Ohio State was up like 30 something on Iowa, CJ Stroud stayed in he featured. Okay, I think the metrics they were looking at was when you enter the fourth quarter with at least a 30-point lead, how much action did the quarterback see? And like in one instance, Stetson only threw the ball. Well, as we know in the Tennessee game, probably Georgia's like most marquee game of the year so far was he only threw the ball 4 times in the second half. Georgia had just fucking they just strangled the game away, right? In the what game were they? There was a game near the tail end of the year where they were up 34 and he only like barely saw action. Whereas CJ Stroud in Ohio State's game, I think it was against Iowa, they were up at least 30 and Stroud had 9 throws. Again, it's not a huge number, but it was just one of those things where it's like you can't just look at like total yards, total touchdowns and stuff. It's also about I think you should look at like what are your performances in the big games? What are your performances when the game is still in balance, right? Um well what oh dude, that I feel you captured. That's often cuz I work like nights. Uh so I'm often up like 11 p.m. to 4 a.m. and then just because of my own circadian rhythm, I'm often up at like 8:39 anyways. Let me get caught up on you. Okay. What game are you planning on playing or games? Disney Dreamlight Valley. Oh, speaking of games, have either of y'all did y'all see any of the stuff from the Games Awards last night? Any of the winners? Elden Ring won Game of the Year. Them and God of War kind of split a lot. Like God of War won Best Narrative, and uh, the guy who does Kratos won for Best Performance. But Elden Ring won Game of the Year. It won Best Art Direction. It won Best Game Direction. So I thought they did pretty dope. Some of the reveals they did were fucking awesome. They showed trailer for I don't know if y'all played the Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order from the other year. But its sequel comes out next year, and they showed gameplay of that, and it looks so fucking dope. What do you Ragnarok? It's kind of like the Oscars, so it only goes for the last like count. I don't even want to say calendar year, but it would have essentially been the Game of the Year awards for the past year, and a game would have had to come out in a certain window. So I think Ragnarok came out just early enough for it to be considered for this award. Um, yeah, it was, and it's like when I was playing Elden Ring earlier in the year, it was one of those where it's like, dude, this is gonna be hard to beat, but Ragnarok is coming out. We'll see. Um, and then when I was playing Ragnarok, dude, I just kept getting blown away. I kept getting emotional. I kept having heartstrings pulled on. I kept thinking how badass and epic this was. So I was like, maybe Ragnarok wins it because Elden Ring doesn't have much of a narrative. Like you're not gonna cry playing Elden Ring, right? You're not gonna fucking well, look at yourself in the mirror and think about how you want to be a father or like God of War Ragnarok makes you think about things like fate and destiny and how much do we control our own paths and fatherhood and being a good son. You know what I mean? Like it's incredible. But then after beating Ragnarok, I was going through some like game clips on PlayStation, and I had randomly stumbled on some stuff I recorded while I was playing Elden Ring, and then it's just like, dude, I'm cool with either because for every bit of phenomenal cutscene that God of War Ragnarok has, Elden Ring blew me away in moments where it's just like the world is so deep and it's so rich, and you see a fucking dragon off in the distance, and you see these weird murky creatures, and you see these caves and this cliffside and this castle, and you can go anywhere, and it's like I'm not saying God of War needs to be open world. I mean, if anything, the open world genre kind of got oversaturated for a little bit, but it is one of those where it's like God of War Ragnarok for the most part, except when there's periods where you can do side missions and stuff, you're on rails. Now, the ride that you're on while on rails is exquisite, but it's like sometimes, I don't know. So, they did not that I've seen captured. Sorry, I just saw that. Um, what are you talking about? The trailer PC port was this year. What am I got myself confused. Um. Oh, the are you talking about Fallen Order? PC port came out this year. I'm surprised it didn't release on PC simultaneously. Actually, you're talking about Star Wars, right? Jedi or Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor. Yeah, it looks sick. Hell, at halftime I'll pull it up. Oh, okay. Wait. All right, so there's no trailer. I don't know. I don't know if I may maybe confuse you with my delivery, but the trailer I was talking about was for Jedi, the next Star Wars game. Well, I also was on a rant. In fairness, so I looked back and I had to catch up. Like you typed that some 3 minutes ago, and or 2 minutes before I said it. Uh, But I do want to. I'm gonna pull up on stream at halftime. That's Jedi. What they showed. It's dude. It looks so fire. Um. But anyways, long story short, I was cool with either way, Elden Ring or Ragnarok winning it. I know you're probably waiting on Ragnarok to come to PC to play it. I presume. Luckily, they've sped that process up. I feel like it used to be. Um. All right. I got you. Um. I just saw your text. What was I gonna say? They've gotten a lot quicker with that. I feel like at first it was like 4-ish years between when it would release on PlayStation to the PC port. But if I remember correctly, the last couple have been around 2-ish years. Like Miles Morales, what came out two months ago for PC, and that game came out in 2020. So that was less than 2 years. Granted, it's a smaller game. It's essentially like Spider-Man 1.5 with all due respect. Yeah. Um it's a much shorter game in scale than Spider-Man, for example. But we also had Ghost of Tsushima came out the beginning of 2020, I believe, and um, we haven't got that yet. So that's one of the only PlayStation first party titles that I don't think has been ported yet. And maybe, that's a yellow, ref. There is no way that that's not a yellow. Thank you. Oh, that was filthy from Neymar, bro. Puts his studs on the ball, megs the dude, blows by him. Dude just yanks him back like a cornerback who knows he's beaten and is happy to take the 15-yard penalty. Um, wait, y'all haven't? Are you sure? I could have sworn Miles Morales came out on PC. Yeah, November 18th, 2022. Um, yeah, I thought I was because one of my favorite streamers to watch is a guy named Co Carnage, Cohh, and you might actually like him too. I mean, he's like 38-ish, dad of two. Um, it's a different crowd, right, than like the Fortnite streamer, BR streamer atmosphere. But anyways, I was almost he only plays PC games, and I was almost certain that he was playing it like a month or so ago. Anyways, it's I think it's Ghost of Tsushima is all that I'm missing, and maybe The Last of Us Part One because that was only just properly remastered earlier this year. But oh, that's a filthy pass from Luca. Luca's such a dope name. Allison. So Brazil's goalkeeper, if you didn't know, is one of my absolute man crushes. He's arguably the best goalkeeper on planet Earth, and he plays for Liverpool. So B, I'm a former goalkeeper. So and C, I mean, I mean, I mean, I mean, I mean, let's just, let's call it like it is. Good defending that from Croatia. Smart, sensible too from the center half. I like that. Oh, that's a lovely flick around the corner. Should also get Croatia up the field if they use the ball correctly. Correctly. Chad World Cup. Oh yeah, for sure. But I mean, Allison's a cut above, and you'll love him because he's a Jesus freak, bro. Jesus freak. Um, well, dude, there's so many cool things about him. One, he's a phenomenal guitarist, right? He's really, really good musically. And did I mention he's arguably the best goalkeeper on planet Earth? I don't think I did. I'll say that again. Um, but he's great at music. He loves God, and a huge Christian. And so him, and as you know, Brazil is a huge Christian nation, right? But what's really cool, and I'll have to share. I think I'll link it to you on Instagram, probably the easiest. But uh, one of our other Brazilian players, Firmino, who's not with the Brazil side, at the World Cup for some reason. But anyways, how do I put this? So Allison, when he moved to Liverpool, as you can imagine, when you're a Brazilian and you're living in Europe, you're going to find any enclave of fellow South Americans, fellow Brazilians to uh, acclimatize with, right? And some of the ones that Allison hung out with was this pastor. He's a Brazilian pastor in England, in Liverpool, and he does baptisms. And so, anyways, this is a couple years ago, but I saw a video that Allison helps with the baptism ritual. Like he'll do like, and again, it's often just for like the Brazilian because he's got a small congregation, I guess, of just El Pastor, exactly. Um, but yeah, you know what I mean. Like I'm sure he doesn't have a huge congregation. He probably is like the Brazilian, it's like where the Brazilians would go to church there. And anyways, it's just like you would like him. Like he's a good dude, great family man. Helps with the baptisms, like both the dunking part and the playing the music when that matters or whatever, and then singing fucking. Pardon me, that was a little bit blasphemous to say that while talking about this subject matter, but what do you call it? The like hymns or whatever you would sing while he does all that. But here's the firest part. So Bobby Firmino is Brazilian, one of the other Brazilians for Liverpool, and I can't remember if he was getting. Do you get rebaptized? You know how you will get married or you'll like renew your vows? Do you renew your baptism ever? Is that a thing? Well, but it's not common. Okay, then maybe he was getting baptized for the first time. I would assume he would have been baptized when he was younger, so I kind of thought it was a rebaptism, but it probably was his first baptism. Anyways, Allison was instrumental in the ceremony and like getting him baptized and everything. And I've never been baptized, but I respect the people who would want to get that, and I think it's really cool of Allison that that's his passion and he loves it in that capacity that he wants to help. But yeah. Oh, and he's also a gaucho. I know gauchos are Argentinian cowboys or whatever, but you can technically have them. I don't know what Brazilians would call them, but there was one. So if you rewind to 2018, Liverpool was playing Real Madrid, the big Spanish giants, Madrid, in the Champions League final, and we lose. No, no, no. What was it? Well, like basically, no, Allison wasn't with us when we lost that first one. Anyways, we were in the off. It was in the off season, right? Season had ended, and this is like 2 or 3 weeks after the season ended, and our players are on holidays, right? The 3 weeks off they get a year essentially. Um, and our manager Jurgen Klopp basically texted Allison like, "Yo, you doing okay? Just checking up on everybody, right? How you doing? You feeling okay?" And Allison simply responds with a selfie of him on horseback in this like gorgeous open valley of like it's like a plain, freaking home on the range type rolling hills. And he's in the wilderness of Brazil or something back home. And he's just literally living his best life. So it's funny, he's like just checking in on everyone, seeing how everyone's off season's going. And Allison's just like, and he's fucking on horseback. There's like his dad, or well, no, I think his dad had just passed away. That might have actually been it. His dad had passed away, and I think that was why he was checking up on him. And so he was like, I'm doing okay, basically. Like I'm freaking cowboying out here in Brazil's wilderness. I'm getting over it. And so, anyways, it's just he's super cool, handsome, great as fuck at goalkeeper, religious man, family man, quiet, doesn't get into shit, not cocky. I love him, dude. He's easily one of my favorite athletes on planet Earth, regardless of sport currently. And my favorite athlete can often range. At a period of time, Le'Veon Bell was one of my favorite athletes on planet Earth. And partly because A, he was a Steelers running back, and then two, because he was a really good, actually good rapping athlete. And you don't see that very often. Uh, the most famous or most notable good rapping athlete is Damian Lillard. Do they? Maybe. I've never been to a Brazilian steakhouse. I've always wanted to go. They look so dank. Yeah, okay. Well, they can be in Argentina, Uruguay, and Brazil, and the south of the Chilean Patagonia. Skilled horsemen, reputed to be brave and unruly. Okay, but then when you scroll down, no, there's a chain of Argentinian steak restaurants called Gaucho. Gaucho opened its first Argentinian restaurant in London in 1994, taking inspiration from Argentina with a vision of bringing the world's best steak. So maybe they also call the waitresses. But anyways, yeah, he's super dope. He's a cool cat. Big fan of him. Oh, oh, good tackle. Neymar's starting to look lively, and his ankle's looking definitely better. Oh, Vinicius just took a hard knock there. That was a lot of clattering and banging and sucking and fucking that. Oh, I need to be careful. I forgot you have me on at work. I'll try to watch my language. Yo, so Croatia, I do sports statistics and stuff, and one of the things that I'll do is essentially the like kinesiology of it. I'll measure or I'll have to compile reports of what other people measured, and then it might often involve like high intensity sprints, right? Distance covered. Um, I'm blanking on two of the other ones right now, but oh, okay, good. But so for Croatia, one of their players, his name is Brozovic. Speaking of Chad World Cup, but he dude, his metrics were insane. He put in like all right, let me try to remember. It was like he ran like I want to say 16 kilometers in his game the other day against Japan, which is insane. For reference, I think that's like 11 or 12 miles, right? He also had like 200 and something high intensity sprints. One of the other ones. So there's high intensity, and then there is um, like a max speed one. And max speed is often, it depends. We use 19.8. So if you go faster than 19.8 kilometers per hour, and I gotta get better at translating, especially when I'm talking to my American homies on what 19 kilometers would be about. But there's essentially a threshold, right? If you go above 19.8, it's considered like a max sprint, and then you have high intensity sprints. Um, and anyways, he just set the fucking numbers insane. He not only ran for a lot, but those would often be high intensity or max speed sprints on top of the. So he had both the like short term uh sprinters metrics and the endurance running ones. I was like, dude, Jesus. What an engine. Engine number 9. All right, we'll try to get some play-by-play in here for a minute. We're in the 43rd minute. Croatia has the ball. They're being patient. They're just play the ball in behind. That's been something that has been one of the things that I've seen players get wrong the most at this tournament is trying to wait the through ball in behind the back line. Ball comes to like the far left. You have a runner who angles himself behind the back line and they try to slip him through. And I've just seen time and time again, it really was costing Switzerland the other day. Um, but they kept having decent runs and they're there to be played, but they just would overhit it and it would go out for a goal kick. Overhit it, goal kick. And so I feel like that's the one thing that people haven't gotten the weight right. And there's so many factors for that. That sometimes it can be the pitch. I know that sounds like I'm excuse making for them, but those types of moments are where a bobbly pitch can make those passes infinitely harder. All right, Croatia's trying to go over the top. They picked him out. He's in the good defending. Are they going to call that offside? Brilliant. Thiago Silva's like, dog. He's like, I am 36 years old or whatever. I do not make me defend like that if it's going to be offside. Is he? Yeah, he is. No, he might be on. I think the guy who's played is onside. That's an incorrect decision. That should be a corner for Croatia, I believe. The guy who's played the ball is being kept onside by Militao. Hey, you making any cool doors? And I can't believe you had to miss freaking Peter being here, bro. I texted him seeing if he wants to come by today. He hasn't responded, so he might be working. Only 1 minute of at a time? That is an anomaly for this World Cup. It really has. Landon Donovan just mentioned how it's been a great first half, and I'd agree with that. It's 0-0, and there's not been too many actual potential goal scoring moments, or even goal mouth action. But there's been some really high quality touches, turns, passes, decisions, flicks. Great tacticality to this game right now. Great hold up play at times by the strikers or the center forwards. That should be the end of the half. Hold on, if you're there, I'm pulling up the Star Wars. Dude, it's so did you play the first one by any chance? Oh, oops, that's not what I meant to do. That'll work. 13 hours ago, 13 hours ago, this all works. Yeah, I did too. And the thing is, that was actually my first Soulsborne game. I had played a little bit of Dark Souls 3 because my roommate had it my last year in college. And then, but yeah, it was my first Souls. I would call it more like a Souls light. It's not nearly as, it has a lot of the mechanics, but it's not nearly as, brutal. So anyways, it which helped because when Elden Ring came out, I was that bit more ready for that kind of system. But all right, let me see if you can. We'll go theater mode. Hold on, oops.
I was betrayed by the one I trusted most.
Hold on, what's the best way to do this? Should I full screen it? Wait, does that make it too big? That's what she said. That's not what she said. That's what he said. That's what he had hoped she had said. Oh, okay, hold on. Sorry, I'm just gonna do this. And then we'll just watch it like this. If you want like a super detailed one, you can watch on your own. Not to be an
I
asshole.
was
I mean, I can.
betrayed
We'll both watch it later.
by the one I trusted most.
So they've done like a teaser trailer before, and all it did is like it ended with Cal Kestis standing outside this Bacta tank, and then everyone, of course, that led a shit ton of speculation on who it could be. Um, but this is what I want to
I will
mention. Hold
not
on.
be imprisoned again.
Some of the animations look so fire. Well, a couple things. I'm not, going back to the open world thing I mentioned earlier with Elden Ring, God of War, Ragnarok. Not that Ragnarok needs to be open world, but Breath of the Wild really did kind of do that for a lot of people and make us want that. But like, look, first off, look at this. Now, this could just be a cutscene, right? This could be a playable area, but it could be lane like God of War. If you played the 2018 one, you would know that it has like that pseudo open world. Like, I don't even want to call it that. It's like an open zone where you can go to somewhat. In Midgard, it's very open, right? When you get on the boat and the canoe with your son, you can go to this island, you can go to this little runoff, you can go to this little jetty, right? There's that. But on most other realms that you go to, they're very, I don't even want to call them linear. They are, but like I call it lane based, right? Where you basically kind of like follow a path. It might jut off. There's some collectibles, but it's not open world. So this has me excited because it could just be lane based too, but it just looks really sprawling. And then you'll see here in a moment he has like a Breath of the Wild esque well that fucking sick. I can't remember, it's been like 4 or 3 years since I played the first one. I know you can obviously force grab stormtroopers, but I don't remember you being able to grab them and use them as a meat shield, A, and then B, that's badass on its own. But then B, have them shoot their turret back at their homies? What? Oh, right, see? Oh, there's two things. Um, A, him riding a creature. Oh, no, first off, one of your Jedi powers is not only that, but then you got the peaceful calming of an animal. And then you presumably get to ride them once you calm them. Like, sign me up. That reminds me of obviously the hang glider in Breath of the Wild. And given that this is presumably on the same planet, given the terrain as the image that I paused earlier in the trailer where I talked about the open world, this has me feeling like maybe even if not the whole game, if they just do like this is the equivalent to Midgard on God of War 2018, right? Where it's a little more open. So that's fire.
A Jedi. Remind our friend here why his kind are supposed to be dead.
So fire. That looks so good. Wait till you see, all right, one of the animations where he cuts this dude.
The Empire's only grown
I think one thing that Soulsborne games, Elden Rings, why they're so fun is that nature of well, first off, boss fights have always been iconic, right? If you go back to Mario and Bowser or Mega Man, or Sonic and Dr. Robotnik, right? That fucking set piece with your boss, and then later we get the iconic, their names would be at the top of the screen. They'd have their own health bar. That's just there's something about it, right? And Soulsborne have done that really well. Especially the one thing I love about Elden Ring is that made me so obsessed was the different natures of the boss fights. Right, you would have the ones like Margot or whatever, right? But the ones that they were they were static and they were a predetermined location, and like you might have to beat your way through the castle, but then once you go through the little gold mist, you're in their arena, right? And it's for that area, but it would be a part of what they call a legacy dungeon. But then you have the other ones that are just in the open world. Iconically, the one right when you open up, right when you get done with the like little prologue thing and you walk out and you see it and you see Stormveil Castle up to your left. You see the giant golden knight, the tree sentinel, I think is what it's called, right there. And of course, it teaches you early on about, hey, it's not a bad idea. We're not gonna hate you. We're gonna make fun of you for leaving and coming back. Like, tip your cat to that dude. You don't have to fight him right now. Um. Oh, sorry. I had while I had the YouTube thing up, my chat was down. This was not a delay thing. This is me. My fault. My fault. My fault. Open world. It would be so fire. I mean, just an open world Star Wars game in general. People have been wanting like a bounty hunter type of game too. I would love one where even if you never leave Coruscant, but it's just like a really robust Coruscant where you're like in the underground shafts. You're up and around the Senate building, you know. Um, I don't get the must be a Jedi thing. Is it the like the calming of the animals part? Sorry, that was delayed. Um, I get on my spiels, and I want to sometimes get through my thought before I forget them. But to wrap it up, oh, she calms it, not excites it, dude. The reverse polarity on the peen. Um, polar penal polarity. No, I can't use polar twice. Fuck. Uh, anyways, but yeah, the boss fights, big set pieces. I loved Elden Ring because you know, a lot of the big bosses you wouldn't see them coming. Like once you knew they were there, you knew they were there if you died. But like you don't see them off in the distance. But there were a ton of true bosses, absolute bosses by every sense of the word. But they were in the open world, and you can see them off in the distance, and they're just like there, lingering, ominous. I love that shit, and I want more games to do that. And so I don't know if this will do this, but this game had some cool bosses. The first Jedi one, the Fallen Order, had some dope bosses. But again, it was all part of lanes, right? You would get to your lane, you do this section, and then the boss would be there. So I just think it'd be super cool if you could have an open world area. And seeing this Yeti and the dude right before has me like super can't wait for the boss fights.
After all we've done, the Empire.
All right, I'm not gonna pause it again. I'll play it through and then I'll come back. That animation, so sick.
Thanks, Bode. Part of the job, Custis.
That's fire. Another dope animation. He's gotten Scruff, McGruff, Chicago, Illinois, 60652.
As long as we
This
fight.
traversal mechanics, the first one had it, but
Hope survives.
so the first one was like it was a Souls Light. That's another animation I want to go back. It was a Souls Light and a Metroidvania Light, and it worked so well. It was a Souls Light because if you die, you lost your XP, and then you have to get it back. And if you die twice without getting the set it back, you lose it. And it was also Souls Light because it's incredibly like the combat was very like parry, dodge, timing based. But it was Metroidvania in the sense that it had a lot of the exploration where it would be you would on first zone you would definitely be like, okay, I need to come back to this area because I can't access that, and then something's gonna happen. I'm gonna get something, a double jump, a force dash that makes me come back. Dude, indeed. Now that we've gone through, hold on, I think that's it. And it's basically comes out March too. Dude, next year is stacked for games. Just off the top of my head, Spider-Man 2, this, Jedi Survivor, Diablo 4, oh man, I had like 5 or 6 I was rattling off last night at the end of the Game Awards. But that's Spider-Man 2, this, Diablo 4, Starfield, I think the Wolverine game comes out next year too. There's just some juicy ones, dude. Juicy ones. But this animation, I love. I think everyone loves when you cut something as a lightsaber. It's so satisfying. And they obviously had really good cutting dismemberment animations in the first one, but I love that force throw, dude on his knees. That's just mm, give me all of that. The dual wielding lightsaber blaster deflection here in a minute. That's
Now
clean.
that we have this, as long as I
This,
fight,
oh, Papi Chulo. I like how has a cross guard on some Kylo shit. Speaking of that, that's probably one thing that has me extra excited for it. So going into the first one, we knew that it was going to be canon. Okay? Hell, even Star Wars Battlefront 2's campaign was canon. So we knew going into it, and it made it all the juicier. And it was fire. It talked about Jedi hologram, or the, what are those called? Those like hollow cubes, hollow disc, I think they might be called. But if you watch the and your oldest son might be getting to the age where he might actually enjoy this, but the Clone Wars, Star Wars: The Clone Wars animated series, it's incredible. It's one of my favorite. It's not maybe, it is one of my favorite Star Wars properties. Um, I still think number one is Rogue One, but anyways, you get a lot of that like hollow disc, hollow whatever cube things in that. So, anyways, the first was cool because it expanded on the lore. It was considered canon, well and truly. So you knew you had that coming. Damn, this Verizon commercial is like a fucking flashbang on me right now. Holocron, there it is. Thank you. Um, and I think that has me even more hyped for this one. A, it's knowing also it's canon. B, in the interim between Fallen Order and this, we would have gotten Obi-Wan, which we knew going into Obi-Wan that it was going to be nestled and crestled, almost chronologically overlapping with Obi-Wan. At least parts of it was going to be overlapping with Obi-Wan, and narrative wise they're essentially a lot the same. I mean, the whole second, you've seen Obi-Wan, right? I haven't. I've watched the first three, and I keep being bummed that I haven't sat down and just binged it all. Um, let me rephrase that. I'm not a binger. I can't watch like more than 3 episodes of something at a time, really. But yeah, no, I haven't finished it. It's what I've seen is incredible. I mean, in the first episode, have you seen it before I say anything? Okay, well, in the first episode, the when I knew it was going to be a different tone for the show is, quite early in the first one, he goes to that bar, he's looking for his sister or whatever, and those dudes are giving him a hard time, and then he leaves, and those dudes follow him down the alley, right? And then he's like, okay, just take my money, and then he beats their ass. But it's like fucking really badass because one, he he hits the dude, or he does, I can't remember exactly, like he breaks the dude's neck or nose so bad that the dude essentially dies. So that's already, you're like, he killed him, like killed a man. Not like we are left to presume he died, like Batman knocking a dude off a roof, right? Like dead. um and then what was I gonna say? But then what fires the other guy tries to wake his buddy up, and then like his emotion, like whatever the dude's name is, like Rex, are you okay? And then you're like, fuck, he killed a dude. But the fires part is then the guy's like, all right, you know what? We'll go to the precinct. We'll say it was an accident. He slipped his head. So it's like now they're talking about fucking cover ups, like the police covering up or like willing. So it's like this is an adult theme. And then the cherry on top of the adult theme is like, I'll tell him what happened. I just don't, and then Andor just kills him in cold blood. And it's just like, I guess it's not cold blood because they started the aggro, whatever, you know what I mean. But yeah, dude, I was like, okay, I've got to finish the show. So yeah, but I haven't. But to wrap up my point, I'm super pumped because we know that this is canon. We've had the Obi-Wan series that has expanded on this timeline, and surely this will only further expand on what the first one and Obi-Wan expanded on. Um, I remember saying back when the first game came out, so first off, I like the actor, Cam Monahan or whatever his name is. I think I I was like, so for the first season of the show Gotham, I loved it. I actually really did. But then I didn't really like it too much. But even I liked him in it. I love him in Shameless. Like he's a great actor. Um, so when the first one came out, I liked him. But okay, so we're in the world of motion capturing being so big now. Let me close out of this since the game's back on. Motion capturing is obviously huge. I mean, it's been. I mean, shout out the homie Andy Serkis and Gollum back, but over the last couple years, we've seen the brilliant performance by Josh Brolin as Thanos, and anywho, that's where we're at. And so, like with games, we get these great motion capture works and performances. You see it in Horizon Zero Dawn and Horizon Forbidden West. The two God of War games are incredible with their motion capture and their their like facial performances and whatnot. So, anyways, I bring that up because I remember when the first Star Wars Fallen Order came out, I was like, dude, I love Monahan. I think he's a great actor, but I just wish like at the time, I remember vividly saying this. I was like, it's a little jarring having him be the Jedi. Like, because there's a difference between you doing the motion capture work, but then the character that you're motion capturing and voice acting looks different. Like, take Christopher Judge, who does Kratos, right? Black man playing. Oh, what a kick save! We're right back into the action. Brazil gets the ball. They take it to the end line. Great fucking square shot on target and a brilliant kick save. But anyways, it just is little like I don't know if I want Cam Monahan as is this like I was like if he started as Cal Kestis in like a live action show. Oh, Brazil's going again. Oh, dude, this could. Oh, oh wow. Croatia defended it in the end. Um, I was like, if he started in a different medium and then came to this, that's one thing. Sorry, but I was a little worried. I was like, dude, I don't know how I feel. Ultimately, the game was so great, and within a few hours, I was over it. But I remember thinking in my head, they're doing this because he's eventually going to come to live action. This character, in some capacity, is going to come to live action. You don't cast an actor and then model the character exactly like the actor unless you probably intend to eventually transfer him over to a different property and to live action. And so we still haven't seen that. He wasn't in Obi-Wan. I don't know if he's in Endor, but I doubt. Anyways, I do this long-winded rant because I remember at the time not liking it, but thinking in fairness, this is probably what they're gonna do. And so that's what also has me super excited about this is because I think even more so now than I did then that we will see Cal Kestis in live action, whether that's in Mando season 3. Well, he would have to be much older if he's in Mando season 3, but in one of them, right? Because if not, you would just have him voice act it, and then that way he could, if you did that and have him different character model, he could come into the animated shows like Bad Batch or whatever. Um, but anyways, so it's just got me super hype as a big Star Wars fan. I love that it's canon. I love that it's going to expand off that whole plot thread that Obi-Wan's further explored, and I really like the idea of eventually Cal Kestis making his way to live action full stop. Assuming he doesn't bite the bullet at the end of this game, but I don't think he will. Well, I shouldn't say that because if they keep him alive and he's presumably alive by the time of like Boba Fett and Mando and post episode 6, that'll be one of those questions like why did we not see Bay or why was he not mentioned? So they do have to like carry on or like be really careful about what they do because every time they do something that's really cool for canon, you're gonna have those internet warriors be like, but this, why wasn't if Baby Yoda was around, why don't we see him in episode 7, 8, or 9? And it's like, isn't it just obvious? They didn't have that yet. Like that, and so they'll hopefully in a couple years it'll all be tied together so nicely that we forget. Oh, Croatia's now got a chance. Oof. A good corner into the box met by a Croatian head, but not convincingly. The ball just goes up And it's, yeah, bundle play that leads to nothing for them. They also showed off a Kenobi, or not a Kenobi, a Hellboy. I don't know if you're a big Hellboy fan, but it's like the art style just looks super sick. It's a Hellboy game. Looks really fire. Let me see what you said.
Right here at the Game Awards opening act.
Yeah, and that absolutely. That was most people's thing was like the whole like opening up this thread and then abandoning it and then yeah. You could definitely tell if you didn't know already, you could easily tell that they changed directors and they had some like identity crisis, so to speak. They had just yeah. And like it's easy for I made fun of it. I'm not hating on you like but I want to just like I guess the whole DC hiring James Gunn makes me think about it, but it's like it makes what Marvel's done all the more impressive in my opinion. That like it really is hard to get, especially in the modern day era where there's such a arms race to get content out because of the way that the release schedule. You know, back in the day before we had streaming platforms and all that, people you knew the window, right? Like you knew that you were a third quarter show or you were a spring first quarter show. You came out and that was your yearly release. You knew who you competed with. You knew how much time you had to get out. Um, of course, there was a lot less freedom in terms of like writers and stuff. So, like you know, you look at Rick and Morty and the fact that they took a couple hiatuses, and the longest hiatus was even before COVID, was because of like surely a contract thing. Like this, we were getting paid X amount because this is our expectation. The show has far exceeded expectation. It's arguably Cartoon Net or like Adult Swim's most valuable property, at least in North America. Like I don't want to include Dragon Ball Z and things like that because they co-own, you know, whatever, however that licensing would work. But anyways, nowadays people are it's an arms race for content. Writers have more, and like the Screen Actors Guild and things like that can let them, you know, negotiate for deals more. So anyways, it really is hard to have that cohesive vision and that clean one voice, not one voice, but like you know, Marvel's done really well. It's not just Kevin Feige. It's Victoria Alonso. It's Luis D'Esposito, and they're there. And but they have that you use the word continuity, and that's perfect. But they have that also that like um chemistry, right? Like hell, let's going back to what we're watching. Brazil. Part of what makes Brazil so hard to score against is they're two center backs. So in defense, it's important to have continuity, reps with each other, familiarity. Well, there is no center back pairing in this entire competition that has as much familiarity with each other as Thiago Silva and Marquinhos do with each other. Not only all the games that they have played as partners for Brazil, but they were at PSG, Paris Saint-Germain. They were there together for years also. So they are fucking telepathic with each other. Um, and but going back to the arms race and their Marvel the seamless comment, if there is one, oh, Brazil's attacking, this should be a goal. Not entirely struck convincingly by Neymar. Is I've actually liked the stuff for the most part. Well, one thing is I've liked the shows this year more than I've liked the movies. I haven't seen Black Panther yet, but I genuinely like Miss Marvel, Moon Knight. Well, I like them all, but I really like Miss Marvel and I really like Moon Knight, and She-Hulk's good too. Um, but I like all three of them more than I do Doctor Strange or Thor, which is crazy to think about. I mean, growing up, Doctor Strange was my third favorite comic book character. Um, you have a movie that fucking has Reed Richards in it and the homie Black Bolt. Black Bolt. So first favorite comic book character growing up, Human Torch, all day, every day. Fucking love Human Torch. Then it was Black Panther, Doctor Strange, then it was Black Bolt. So you have Black Bolt and the brother-in-law to my favorite character in a movie with my third guy. And I actually like Miss Marvel more. Um, but within the last few weeks, we've seen conversations about how so Disney had Bob Iger as the CEO for years, right? And then he got replaced with a guy named Bob Chapek or whatever. And then, anyways, Bob Chapek had to step down, and Bob uh, Iger came back in like an interim role for a little bit. And there's been already reports that Kevin Feige has said to people that they're going to reevaluate essentially their like release schedule in the immediate future, which makes me think, and going back to come back full circle on how hard it is to have a vision. The arms race of content is, even though I've liked Marvel and I don't really feel like they've slipped up too much. I guess some people's complaints is that it doesn't feel connected enough yet, I would say. But clearly, I don't know if you've seen Miss Marvel, but she has an artifact. Okay. And then in the movie Shang-Chi, he has the 10 rings, right? And I definitely think that they are going to be connected in the long run. My theory, I was telling my buddy Austin, is I think that they're like Kang technology. So in the Ant-Man movie, we're gonna get Kang, and we also got him in the Loki show. Um, but if you look at the trailer for Ant-Man, some of his like devices. Oh shit, let me get back out of here. Hold on. Devices, they kind of look, they have that like architectural design or whatever of the Miss Marvel bangle and the 10 rings. So I'm wondering if they're good, that's how it's all gonna be connected. Like maybe Kang in his throughout the timelines he visited Earth, and he would have left those accidentally, deliberately, whatever, there. So anywho, yeah, but basically, like Kevin Feige basically kind of was like, yeah, well, we're gonna look at our content schedule, which gave everyone the impression that Bob Chapek, the CEO who had come in, kind of like made him almost like rush things out, or release them a bit more frequently than he would have liked. And then with Bob Iger coming back temporarily, he's like, we're gonna reevaluate that. But it just all speaks volumes on how much of an arms race it all is, how hard it is, how great Marvel has done with what they have achieved. I'm really looking forward to what James Gunn can do with DC, hoping that he can create that well tethered narrative. Um, but yeah, I just this all started with the whole Jedi thing, and I can't wait. Um, it looks so good. The first one was so fire. I can't wait for Spider-Man 2, man. The voice actor who plays Venom sounds super on point. I watched an interview with him recently, and where he was talking about and he did his Venom voice at the end. He was like, "We are Venom," and I was like, "Yes, please, consume me, symbiote, consume me." Let me get back to the game a bit. All right, Brazil attacking. It's been a lot of Brazil this half. Croatia has had one set piece that they sent a good ball in, and probably should have been dealt with, or uh, it should have been attacked better by Croatia, but their goalkeeper has made some great saves. He's really stood up tall. Great kick save there. Ah, dude, this ring light's so hot, man. That should be the next invention, and it's probably super dangerous electronically, but a ring light that, like, those fans you can take to sporting events where it'll like mist you. Um, I want to get misted by my ring light. I guess I could also have one of those things separate and mist myself, but it's not the same. I want the mist to come from the source of light. I do. See, like you can't. I guess you can't see it much here. Now, if I turn it up, see, definitely there. It also depends. If I have my overhead studio light on, often I won't use it like there. But I guess it just depends. Okay. Well, no, I can't because my hair is fucking. I gotta get a haircut so bad. I'm like in this weird, awkward. It's a flow, but not a flow yet. It's flow. It's like it's a creek. and I need it to be more like a river, or to just dam it off and make it a pond. You went? I really wanted to go. I don't know if I was talking to you about it, but with our buddy John Paul, if I would have even bought like a nosebleed seat ticket, because he's in a wheelchair, you could get it like converted. Oh yeah, you were there. You told me the whole ADA thing, American Disabilities Act. But yeah, but I didn't want to go on. But I am going to see them in Charlotte in 2 weeks. Yep, they did. And not to sound cocky, but it's been like that. The Steelers have, like, it's funny. We have the best traveling fan base, I think, in the NFL. But I wouldn't even put us in the top 3 or 4 in terms of like home game environments or atmospheres. Uh, when I think of best like NFL home fans, it's like Kansas City, Buffalo, cut above, and then Seattle, and then maybe Minnesota is around there. But I remember like 2 or 3 years ago there was a game we had in San Diego. It's like a 1 p.m. Not both teams aren't like really crushing it. Hell, the Chargers might have even been below 500. But anyways, it was one of those where there wasn't a massive like reason for there to be a bunch of Steelers fans there. And we truly outnumbered them. I mean, they showed it and it was nuts. I mean, every time that the Chargers would have like a third down on offense, where you think if it was a home crowd it'd be dead quiet, it was just that was the loudest it would be on the television broadcast. And it was just like, damn. Um and 2 weeks ago we played against Indianapolis. I remember them showing the graphic that it was in Indianapolis, and like whatever site keeps up with some of those ticket sales, fantix.com, whatever it was, uh they talked about how essentially we had outsold them. Like there was more Steelers tickets bought for that game, or whatever, however they track it. I don't know if they fucking do a questionnaire to know what team you're from, um but there was also, I sent it to the buddies who are all a Falcons fan. Let me show you real quick. Unfortunately, this group message, it's one of those where if you leave your phone for a few hours and you come back, it's like 44 missed messages, no doubt, especially when it gets cold. Get lost, AccuSure. I have not. I've never been to Heinz Field, or I've never been to a game in Pittsburgh. I've never been to the city of Pittsburgh. So this was the first off, so it's the tweet. Oh, I don't know if you can read that. It says, "I can't get over the sound of the crowd. I can't get over the sound of the crowd." And it was when Marcus Mariota threw the pick. Hold on. I mean, do you hear that? I don't know if my mic's picking it up. One more time. This is right when the interception happens. Probably my mic has a filter where it's not supposed to pick up other noise, but it erupted as if we were the home crowd, even though um sending. So I texted the group message. Another good save. The Brazilian Paqueta fucking skull caps him, gets through on goal. Um, but I sent it to my group message of friends, and they're almost all of them are if not all of them are Falcons fans. And I sent it to them, the link, and then I messaged them. The Steelers have 32 different home venues, and then I like got out of my own britches a bit, and I was like, well, it's more like 29, because I don't want to dare think that if we go to Kansas City or we go to Buffalo, we would outnumber them, because we wouldn't. And even if we did really well proportionally compared to every other team when they visit those stadiums, their crowds are so good, it's not like you would really hear our fans. Um, But yeah, it's actually cool. The Red Sox are that way too, and that's my favorite baseball team. And again, I just took my dad's favorite sports teams when I was 10, since I didn't grow up with them in my house, as like a thing to help us bond. And it was just kind of cool that it worked out. Um, Granted, he is from the Northeast originally. He's from Hartford, Connecticut, so it explains his Red Sox love. And then even if he initially bandwagoned on the Steelers in the 70s, he never fell off of the bandwagon in the 80s or 90s or the early 2000s before we won the Super Bowl, the first one with Ben in 2005 against the Seahawks. Antoine Randall, Hines Ward, the Georgia Bulldog. That was a cool fucking wide receiver group. You have two receivers who are good receivers, but who also played quarterback in college. And so doing like wide receiver reverses and like end around reverses and shit, it was just so devastating with them. Uh, because I think Antoine Randall threw it to Hines Ward, and that was the Super Bowl that also had Sean Alexander. And this was before the Seahawks had rebranded themselves, and their new brand and their new color palette and shit's way more fire. That like dark blue with the lime green is so much doper than their old like uh I don't even know what you call it, like ashy blue, charcoal blue, like you know what I mean. They had that old one. Typing in where um they probably had to do fucking artificial noise things to make it seem like Falcons were. But I asked the group this. I was like, why is it that way? Because when you see Atlanta United games, the stadium is often packed, or it's definitely a lot more filled than Falcons ones are. And there's no way you can tell me that there's definitely not more soccer fans than football fans. And I wouldn't say that there's more United fans than Falcons. I know that United has won an MLS Cup, and like Falcons have, that whole Super Bowl collapse would have definitely been like a stab in an already deflated fan base. But I don't know. Yeah, but like, I will say that sometimes the injuries look a lot worse than they could be. Like it might look like some simple coming together, but if you look up close, they have studs, like hard ground, or the worst ones are soft ground studs raking across your Achilles, bro. That's like getting bit by 1,000 fire ants. Um, you have the knee to knee. There's a lot of ones that don't seem like they could hurt, uh, and they probably hurt a lot more. That's one. Two, I always will bring up, it's it's not like, well, first basketball has this problem with flopping, and then like you go into the basket and you flailing your arms to try to win the basket, right? Now basketball is a decent comparison, and I'll come back to this, but both of no, actually, okay, and then there's the NFL or American football, and it's been like this for at least a decade. But especially ever since the explosion of no huddle offenses, right? And fast paced, quick tempoed offenses with like Chip Kelly in Oregon and whatnot, right? We have seen more and more the dark arts of American football, or a new dark art in American football is the going down. Um, Okay, thanks for stopping by, dude. But yeah. But it's in the football too. The Bengals did it the other day where there was a goal line situation. They didn't have enough men on the field. Two had to run on late. One of their players smartly, got to give him credit, realized it, and then he fell down and started holding his hamstring. And it basically gave a free timeout. Didn't get penalized for, too many men or whatever the situation. Not a men, they weren't. And so I remember Nick Fairley for Auburn used to be a master of that dark art, where if the team was going quick tempo, dude, he would lay on the football. He'd fucking roll around on the quarterback so they couldn't get up. Yeah, gotcha. I super down. And if you get done with your meeting, come back. I'll be streaming for the Netherlands Argentina game too. Absolutely, 100%. I can't wait for that game. Croatia making 2 subs. We're in the 71st minute. Does the stream show that? Yep. Fucking hot. Dude, my hair looks greasy as hell, and I swear it's not. I showered late last night. I haven't done anything since showering, so it shouldn't be. Brazil's moving the ball nicely from side to side. They get Anthony 1-on-1. He goes over. He asks for a free kick. Brazilian fans ask for a free kick right side of the area. Referee tells him to get up. I think the referee's Michael Oliver. Neymar now has it on the left-hand side. He loses it, running right into a stout Croatian. We're in the 73rd minute. Brazil has the ball again. Richarlison drops it to Neymar. Neymar is just kind of like squaring up his mark. Nothing doing. Aimless cross right at the Croatian keeper. Stats show Croatia with the. Yeah, like that's one of those where it's like I don't understand if it's not a foul on Anthony, it's surely simulation because I don't know. Just because a player goes down and the referee doesn't deem it a foul doesn't make it a simulation. They could be contact, just not worthy of a foul. But that one looked kind of simulation. We're living in a simulation. Oh, that's right. Morocco played Spain. Who did Portugal play? I was talking about that earlier. Oh, they played South Korea. That's right. Ball drops the Croatian keeper, who punts it long. Marquinhos wins the initial header. Second ball falls to Croatia, though, well held up. And now Croatia will be able to hopefully try to recycle it. Nope. They'll drop it back to their goalkeeper. That defender for Croatia does really poor there. He has all the time in the world to turn, get his body facing upfield, try to play his left back or his one of the left midfielders to try to get them out of their own half because Brazil has essentially been just pressing them in. Have another chance for Brazil. Good goalkeeping again. Whether it's him making himself big and doing a save, a full-on save, or whether it's in moments like that where he comes out and he kind of rushes the moment. It's not an actual save, but he does. I mean, you know what I mean. I think stats-wise, it'll go down as a save. Oh, I got it. Brazil with the corner, Neymar's taking it. Doesn't beat the first man, but it also Croatia doesn't completely deal with it well. I wonder how long Luka can make it. You know, he got subbed out in their knockout round games because at his age, understandably, doing 90 minutes. Keep in mind, these games are every 3 days, essentially. So if this was like for him for Real Madrid and he only had to play once on the weekend and once he could play for 90 minutes. But every 3 days, it's hard for him to play for 90 minutes. Let alone 90 plus, 120. Great goalkeeping. Oh, that is a full save. They just showed a replay of that. I thought that Neymar didn't really get a shot off, and the goalkeeper came out and kind of rushed him, made him, you know, fumble, sort of like lose. He bobbled the ball and then kicked it out. But no, Neymar does get a shot off, and it's the keeper's trailing leg saves it with the inside of his kneecap. Really fucking good save. This goalkeeper's been outstanding. They have 6 shots on goal. That's really good efficiency. 9 shots, 6 on goal. Croatia 5 shots, none on goal. Marquinhos carrying the ball in his own half. He's going to play it to Militao on the left. Militao will play it centrally for Neymar, who's come short for him. Now Neymar's running with the ball. He's trying to weave in. It's initially good combination play between Neymar and Richarlison. Neymar's running with the ball, dancing, waltzing past people. He lays it off to Richarlison. Richarlison lays it off to Neymar. But then Neymar goes to return it back to Charleston. They're trying to do like a 1-2, 1-2. And then Neymar's second ball to Richarlison is inaccurate. Dude, these are the American color commentators, whether they're play-by-play like JP Della Cameron and fucking John Strong, or dare I even say it, okay, those two and Stu Holden they're not good. They're good at some aspects of the job. They're obviously good at it's not easy to, like, you have to know the pronunciations of all these names and managers and teams, and like you got to pay them their proper respect. So they are good at that. Um, they are good at that element of it, but like everything to do with the sport itself, like they're good at the broadcast, the stuff you would learn in school for the broadcasting stuff, but it's the actual nitty gritty of the sport that they're like nails on a chalkboard to me, bro. And then Landon Donovan is also like that too, to a degree. Can be, man. I hate using the word cringe, but sometimes they'll say stuff and it's just like, dude, you make it look bad for all of us American footy fans. Anthony's taking on their Croatia's left back. Oh, Anthony takes a hard foul again. Doesn't give the foul. Oh. Paqueta saves it super well. Or, sorry, strikes it well through bodies, but it's right at the goalkeeper. So he would have seen it late, but he should save it. But what was really good about the save is how firmly and confidently he saved it. No rebound, no spillage, nothing. Because he probably, like, they're currently talking about how twice now, and I just alluded to it, Anthony for Brazil has the ball, and he ends up on the ground. Whether it's a foul or not, whatever. But neither time they gave the foul like against Croatia on him. But then also neither time did he book Anthony for going down. And as I said earlier, just because you go down and it's not a foul doesn't make it simulation. But anyways, that's what the commentators and stuff are talking about right now. Is like, wow, why if it's neither a foul or neither yellow? Interesting question. I haven't seen the second one really close, like a good replay of it yet. Dude, I swear Twitch is. I don't know if they do this because they don't want to pay out as much to people for ad money, even though it's already like a minuscule amount that you get for ads, as is. But I swear that like it'll say like I have 6 viewers. Not bragging, obviously that's not shit, but like I'll have 6 viewers, and I know for a fact that I have at least four because, like, say 2 people will be talking. I might have one up on another screen, um, so I know like I'll have at least four. It'll say 6 or whatever, but like I'll look left, and like that's the case with like 3 minutes before my next ad break. I'll look left and like maybe I'll have 45 seconds left before my ad break, and then it'll say I have 1 viewer. And it's like those same people are still chatting, for example, not currently, but still chatting, still have it up on other screens. Seems very convenient that I'm going to have less viewers to watch this upcoming ad. You know, it's like, again, it's like they reduce the number right before an ad hits. So, and what they'll probably do is so let's say I actually have 6 viewers. They'll report to advertisers that 9 people watched your ads in that particular moment. Like that would get counted as 9 viewers had impressions on your ad. So they get more ad money because it's like when you pay us to run an ad, you get this many impressions. So I have 6, they'll report 9, but they'll actually only calculate for 1 viewer. So they don't have to pay the streamer as much. Like they don't have to pay them for the 6 viewers that actually watched it, let alone the 9 they lied about. That's what I feel like. Anywho, all right, we're in the 84th minute. Croatia has the ball in Brazil's area. They just try a hopeless shot. They're really kind of rushed. Went straight to a Brazilian body, blocked. Now it's with Thiago Silva. Allison probably should have just booted it long there. He tried to play a cheeky pass out to his right back, and it goes out for a Croatian throw in. I really got to use the restroom. I'm trying to wait till potentially the the overtime, or what am I saying? Like the freaking timeout between the end of regulation and the beginning of extra time. So Pedro has come on for Charleston, Rodrigo for Vinicius Jr., and Anthony for Rafinha. Shoot. Oh, good tracking back there. Right when Casemiro gets the ball about 35 meters from goal. He's going to queue up a shot. All the Brazilians are telling him to shoot, Brazilian fans. And as he's going to queue it up, one of the forwards for Croatia tracks back and nicks it off of him. Brazil has a corner. Anthony taking the corner. Dude, the corners have just been shit for the most part. Like 1 in every 4 is good. Hell, and this is throughout the whole World Cup, I feel like, but especially today. But I feel like more failed to beat the first man than actually go into a good area, right? Oh shit, my mic's unmuted. If Argentina wins today and Brazil wins today, we'd have a mega juicy semifinal. A mega juicer. God, that would be so fire. Brazil, Argentina semi. I'm getting a semi just thinking about it, you know what I'm saying? Oh. Paqueta's down on the ground. That's a tough foul on him. Ooh. Paqueta. The rural juror. Rural juror. Oh, that's a big fucking collision between Kovacic. I couldn't tell how to. Maybe Paqueta. Paqueta. Barcelona. Brazil. Why do I keep saying Barcelona? Brazil have the ball. They try to cross in. It's easily dealt with by Croatia. Ball falls to Croatia at the top of the 18. Their center forward tries his best to hold it up, but he is squeezed out of it by Brazil. It's good pressing, good chain pressing by Brazil, but there was an outlet he could have used if he just fucking got his head up and stopped trying to do Cruyff turns everywhere. Oh, oh. So then Brazil gets the ball back. They send a floated cross into the back post. It floats over everyone except the Brazilian player, who then tries to head it back into the danger zone. It becomes a Richarlison versus Lovren, I think. Aerial duel. Lovren wins it. Now it should be a Croatian free kick right outside the area to clear. Damn. Brazil with the ball. Marquinhos with it. 40 meters from his own goal. He's now going to go right to Thiago Silva. I was sitting on the ball. He goes back to Marquinhos. Marquinhos is bringing it up near the halfway line. It then goes to their left back, Danilo, who's the person playing left back, Danilo. Now to Neymar. Neymar back to Danilo. Danilo back across the shape to Thiago Silva, who's at the halfway line. Back to Danilo, just inside the Croatian half, to Neymar. Neymar to the far left touchline. Oh, that's it. Oh, Rodrigo tries an in far left, right footed, tries an in swinger to the back post from. I mean, he's deep. He's like some 40-ish meters from goal. Tries an in swinger, but the run was there, and the Brazilian player, I think it's Paqueta, is in front of the Croatian, but it's just too far in front of him. He tries to stretch for it too. It's also good body positioning by the Croatian defender. Upon replay on the camera angle from behind, he does really well to get in there and shoulder him off of the lane that Brazilian player would have wanted to take to get on the end of that in swing and cross. Now it's Luka. Croatia's attacking. Croatia tries to cross it. It's cleared by Marquinhos for now. But no way that's you're gonna call that as a free kick, dude. Michael Oliver has, if ever, like fans of the British Premier League have said for years that um English refs are the worst, and it makes it all the more, what's the word I'm looking for, um all the more relevant because the Premier League is widely considered the best league on earth. It's definitely the most lucrative and it has the most money that circulates through it. So you would think they definitely do everything they could to ensure they also the refereeing quality matched the quality of the rest of the league, the managers, the players, etc. Um and anyways, that would have been a stereotype for a while and whatnot. Well, Michael Oliver today has done nothing to alleviate that common thought. If anything, he has only done stuff that would help multiply that, exasperate that conversation. It looks like Rodrigo just tried a freaking side volley, Flying Dutchman type goal. Oh, no, it was Pedro, but he mishits it and it just goes into the ground for an easy catch for the Croatian goalkeeper. But yeah, dude, between not giving a yellow to either one of Anthony's potential simulations, to him calling that a foul there against Croatia on Kovacic right outside the Brazilian 18 after the Marquinhos header, it's just not been a good outing. Croatia has it near their own 18. It's now with Lovren, who's trying to carry the ball forward. Oh, it's Croatia. This is a good chance. Terrible shot and given everything. Terrible shot. Ball comes into um excellent tackle from Lovren. Starts the Croatian attack. It gets to a Croatian player who's able to drive at the Brazilian back line in their own area, commits a person, cuts it. He's a right-footed person attacking on the left. So then he eventually kind of like cuts it and then squares it to an late on-rushing Croatian player who's able to strike it first time. And it's one of those you just quite simply have to get it on frame. And now oftentimes you don't know what's going through these players' heads. Sometimes, and this is why it's having like an elite goalkeeper means so much in so many different capacities because um you take a moment like that, and I'm not trying to absolve that Croatian. He needs to hit the frame. He should score, but at minimum he should hit the frame. But you might not know. He might know that Allison's good as shit, and you have to come up with something special to beat him. Um, and so as he's running onto that ball to strike it first time, he is thinking he needs an actual precision shot. And then that gets in your head and you go for the fucking wonder goal. And instead you end up sending it to the fucking moon. Um, but you in those moments, it's like you just gotta get it on frame. Even the world's best can make mistakes. So even if it's like a tamer shot right at Allison, you never know. He could spill it. Um, you never know. The Brazilian that was trying to get across to block it could accidentally handball it. And then, of course, you just get on frame. Even if he doesn't spill it, he could do a really good save, but it's a parry to someone else. But he just blasts it over. We're about to reach the first what do you call in halftime of the extra time. The extra time break. Wait, am I dropping frames here? The first time I'm dropping frames. Modric leading the game with defensive line breaks. Oh, what play! Goal! What a goal! What a goal! What a goal from Brazil! That was Neymar at his best. That's Brazilian football at its best. That's fucking. It was almost kind of reminded me of Messi against Real Madrid all those years ago in the Champions League, where everything's kind of slow. Almost, it's like everyone's just kind of expecting the ref's gonna blow for the the halftime of extra time, and then Neymar just switches like turns up a gear, and it's that quick one touch passing that can break down even and accurate flicks and layoffs. So, anyways, Neymar essentially comes and grabs the ball off Marquinhos. Marquinhos has it in Croatia's half. Lovely return ball. Um, but it's funny, Marquinhos essentially has it in Croatia's half. Neymar runs almost to him, is like, give me the fucking ball. Gets it, and then he just goes. And one of the things is he plays the ball forward into Paqueta, and it's just pass and move, pass and move. It's the Liverpool groove. But as soon as he plays it to Paqueta, he doesn't stop. He immediately goes for the return ball. Paqueta's ball is a good one. It's an accurate on the deck return ball that leads Neymar. So Neymar, like if this is the edge of the area, this is where Paqueta is. Neymar's here. He plays it into Paqueta. Paqueta lays it off into the area, right? And so Neymar can run onto it with all his momentum. Now, number 19 for Croatia, who had done well. If you remember a couple minutes ago, Rodrigo sends in that in swinger that Paqueta tries to get on the end of with his angled run that he's in front of the Croatian defender. And I mentioned the Croatian does really well to just kind of like shoulder him off of the lane that he would want to have attacked from. And that defender almost does really well again because after the ball into Paqueta and Paqueta lays it off and it's going to Neymar. Neymar gets there, but so does 19 for Croatia. And he makes, instead of, Neymar would have loved to just potentially strike the ball there. Once he gets on the end of the return ball by Paqueta, strike it. First time, probably, boom. But number 19 for Croatia does ever, Croatia, does ever so well to kind of throw him off. So Neymar actually has to like round. He has to go wide of the width of the goal mouth. Um, but it's one of those that ultimately the keeper comes out too, and Neymar rounds him, and then he puts it into an open net from a sort of acute angle. And it's one of those fine margin things because 19 does do well to make that awkward for Neymar, so he couldn't just strike it first time when he reached Paqueta's return ball, his layoff. And he makes him have to do that extra bit of rounding. But at the same time, I wonder, I'd have to see a replay. I've not seen one since. Does the Croatian goalkeeper kind of come out ready to make himself big and potentially save any potential shot on that first sequence? So then by the time Neymar eventually rounds number 19 for Croatia, he has essentially rounded the Croatian goalkeeper as well without actually rounding him. You know, sometimes you kick it, you know that you're getting an on-rushing goalkeeper and you round him that way. So, but great composure. Again, it's that switching of tempo. Everything's kind of to a lull. Marquinhos just has the ball. He's just loosely carrying it into Croatia's half. Croatia's set back. Neymar goes and gets it off Marquinhos and just boom. It's what great players can do is they just ramp it up another gear. And that quick one-touch passing with him and Paqueta breaks them, gets them through the Croatian back line, and then great composure and skill from Neymar to round the challenge and then put it in the open net. But he played one layoff with someone else. I had to see the replay, but I think it goes Neymar gets it off Marquinhos. Neymar plays someone, plays it back to Neymar. And Neymar's it's just pass and move. It's exactly what you like. I'm gonna play it to you and I'm gonna keep running. Find me back. So the first guy finds Neymar back. Then he plays the next person because like the first one was further away from goal. Plays him 1-2 off of him. Then he 1-2s off of Paqueta. I wonder who that first one was. It was they were on the left half of the field ish. So it was probably Rodrigo since he's playing on Brazil's left. Neymar's got 8 and 12 for 8 World Cup goals and 12 World Cup appearances. Pretty fucking great return, and he's right in. He's right in there with Messi, Ronaldo, uh, Maradona for career World Cup goals. And that's got to be so difficult for Croatia because I was literally just talking about how we're about to go into the halftime of extra time, and you always talk about it whether it's an American football, what you conceding like that right before halftime can be such a gut punch, especially in extra time, especially for the underdog Croatia in this situation. Um, and especially since Croatia had their best chance of the evening just moments prior, where Lovren makes that great tackle. He plays it to the striker who got subbed on, and let me find it. What's his name? Uh, Anyways, their striker who does super well to hold it up. He does well to lay it off to the on-rushing. Unfortunately for Croatia there, it wasn't Modric who was running on to that square ball to strike first time. It was someone else. And he just moonblasted it. But that's a double gut punch. It's right, you concede right before half and moments after you had your best chance of the evening yourself, where you should have at least put a shot on frame, if not outright scored, and you just fucking blast it, dude. Remember, Croatia's the reigning runners up. They're a good footballing nation, and this is a good footballing side. But this Brazil team, well, I mean, their defense, it's like you have arguably the best goalkeeper on planet Earth, at least on form and like over the last 2-ish years, right? So you're not going to count Neuer, you're not going to count Buffon or Oblak or Neuer, I did I say Neuer? Um and then you have not only two good center halves on their own who have been in good form for club and country, but they have such a rapport and an understanding with each other, like Thiago Silva and Marquinhos have. Oh, that's a lovely cross. The subs that freaking Brazil are able to make too. I mean, to bring Fred on to essentially someone like Fred up a goal in the 105th minute, really good sub to have. Dude, the fact that Luca is this fucking good still at his age, and it's not just at his age. It's his at his age while playing for Real Madrid, a team who will go deep in almost every competition every year, right? Like he last season, they would have they went and won the Champions League, beating my Liverpool. So they would have gone deep into that competition. Uh which means he wouldn't have had much of a summer off because the turnaround was short going into this campaign given the Winter World Cup. So he's 36ish, playing in a shit ton of competitions and having a bunch of appearances late into the year with minimal off season to reset. Now, but Croatia's attacking. All that said, they have the ball. Oh my god, it's just that lack of just like it just there's just that missing bit of quality. They're really Croatia's really good, but there's just that little bit where they get the ball into the box, they have the ball at their feet in the area, and they just can't beat a man. They can't get a shot off. They get a shot, but it's just straight block, like right into a blocked effort. Or they moon shot it, like the chance that they had right before Brazil's goal that was really good. But when it's all said and done, Luka Modric absolutely should be considered one of the, I don't know, 6 to 10 best midfielders of all time. Oh, that's a great dude. Lovren's balling. How is that a foul? That is so soft. Dude, Thiago Silva fucking sold Michael Oliver a beach house in Idaho with that one. Great fucking cross by Lovren into the box. I mean, it's great defending by Thiago Silva, but I also don't know if that's a foul. Yeah, it was. So it was Rodrigo who he played the first one with. That just unbelievable composure. I'm finally getting to see a replay of that goal. Unbelievable composure. Again, the ramping up of tempo by Neymar to just get it off Marquinhos and go. And I like you can get that air where like play me. 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. And he goes and plays it with Rodrigo back. Plays it with Paqueta back. Shrugs off or rides the challenge of number 19 for Croatia. Rounds the keeper, puts it in the net. Then he's gonna get on his PC, right? So Capture Code is a big racing fan. I think he first followed me when I was playing Forza Horizon 1. He asked about Forza Horizon, the next one. Or Forza, no, he asked about Forza Motorsport, which would be the next one. And he said he was going to play American Truck Simulator. I'm only bringing that up because I want to remember like what some of my regular viewers are doing and like what they're up to and whatnot. Um, so, and then who would, the other one that came in recently, what was he telling me? Brazilian fans rocking in the crowd, dude. Bunch of them there. Holy hell. 114th minute. Looks like Brazil has a corner, I believe. They're going to take it short. Anthony into Neymar. Neymar's going to drop it. Fred has it. Fred to Casemiro. Casemiro forward to Anthony. Anthony to Neymar. Neymar fouled. That'll do nicely for Brazil right now. Keeping the ball in Croatia's third, winning free kicks. Damn, there are apparently 40 fouls between the teams. Neymar is just going to play it sensibly out wide to Anthony, who's going to hold it up. Oh my God. And then he woefully underhits that. That was terrible from Anthony. Luckily for him, his fellow Man United brethren recovers the loose ball. Look at Luka Modric, dude. His age, the amount of miles he'd have put on his legs over the last few years, and yet he's still full laying out to try to tackle that ball off of a Brazilian player. And now Croatia has the ball. They try a long diagonal switch that's overhit and goes out for a throw into Brazil in their own half. Dude, I don't know who I want to win the next game, man. Part of me wants to say Netherlands because they've never won the World Cup and I'd like to see them win it. Oh, um that looked like a scissor challenge. So the Croatian Brazil almost had a player go through on goal. I think it was Fred running on to a pass. And then the Croatian player absolutely gets a touch of the ball, but he also tackles him with like a scissoring motion. So that should have been a foul. But it's Croatia. Goal! So first off, Brazil has every right to get pissed because it absolutely looked like that was a foul on the other end, right outside the area. Scissoring action on Fred. Looked like it should have been a free kick for Brazil right outside the Croatian area. So, A, not only would they have a chance to potentially score because it's a free kick 19 meters from goal, but they would obviously, Croatia wouldn't have the ball. Brazil could potentially not even take the free kick like directly on goal and try to retain possession. But it wasn't called. Tackle happens. Loose ball is picked up by Croatia. They go right down the field. They actually get good numbers in this attack. I wonder where the Brazilian midfield is in this regard. Well, we know one of the Brazilian midfielders were Fred, who had just made the run on the other end, and he gets fucking scythed down. But anyways, ball comes to Modric, to someone else. They go down their left. It's a good ground cross on the deck that goes across the like nearest the top of the 18. And then this time, last time that Croatia was in a situation where they were attacking down their left on the edge of the 18 and they square a ball across from left to right to allow an on-rushing Croatian to attack the ball. The player just moonblasted. This time, much more controlled. And this is exactly what I meant earlier, where even if it is Allison, arguably the best goalkeeper in the world on current form, you just never know. And you just got to get it on frame. Granted, there was only one Brazilian in between him and Allison last time to potentially deflect it or to potentially unsight Allison. But this time, it's a much more controlled finish. He keeps it on frame, and what happens? I think it takes a slight deflection. I haven't seen a replay of it. But even if it doesn't, Allison would have absolutely seen that late. He still does well to scramble to his right post, and I think he almost got a hand to it. But it's either way, it's guys, it's so important just to keep your composure and to make sure you get it on frame. But I want to go. I still go back to the fucking what should have been a foul for Brazil right outside the area right before it. That will be if Brazil go on to lose this game. That will absolutely be a point of contention. But again, Michael Oliver has sucked ass. Not to go on that whole rant I did about 5-10 minutes ago, but English refs suck. They're fucking terrible. The Premier League refs are dog shit. In general, but especially when you consider how much money and how much quality and how many eyeballs and all of that are on the Premier League, there's no excuse for their refs to be as bad as they are. So then Michael Oliver comes here and has a chance to maybe have a good refereeing performance and like curtail some of that stereotype, and no, it's just gonna be ramped up. That entire rhetoric is just going to be magnified because he has been shit. You can argue Anthony has potentially could have gotten, like, to be fair, so Brazil feels robbed that they should have had a free kick for them right outside Croatia's area, which means Croatia doesn't get the ball to attack the other way. But earlier in the game, Croatia fans can argue that Anthony should have had at least one yellow card for simulation. Which is crazy because he came on as a sub. Rafinha started, right? So Anthony wouldn't have even had a full match to potentially get 2 simulations. And yet you can argue he's gotten 2. I don't think the first one should have. It looked like there was enough contact to not give simulation there. So it's not a free kick, but it's also not simulation. The second one I've never saw a replay of, so I wouldn't know. But anywho, he's been shit both ways. That's a foul. That's got to be a yellow. It's got to be a fucking foul. No way that's not a yellow card. I'm not even rooting for Brazil necessarily here. My man's Anthony, he's not even my man's. He plays for one of my arch rivals, but he just got fucking tabletopped. Perisic okay, my only thought is Perisic is on a yellow card, and I say this time and time again. Referees, no, he's not on a yellow card. Michael Oliver, what is you doing? Oh, good corner or good free kick delivered there by Neymar. Oh. So Brazil has a free kick after that. Neymar sends in a good fucking ball. It should have been headed. I think the effort should have been better initially. It's not. It bundles around. Eventually, it falls to a Brazilian at the back post who strikes it on frame, and it's saved as it should have been. But that is terrible refereeing by Michael Oliver. Holy shit, how is that not a yellow card? What I was going to say is we see it far too often. It should not be the case. But what referees do is like they'll look at a moment and then let's say it's clearly not a red card, right? But it's debatably a yellow. And they'll look at it and let's say if the player's already on a yellow, they'll look at it and they'll be like, is it worthy of a red essentially? Like is even if it's a yellow card offense, should I give them their second yellow? And is it really worthy of sending somebody off? Nah, we'll just give the free kick. And that's not how it should be officiated. You should look at every moment in a vacuum. Every moment in a vacuum. It's not the referee's fault that the player who's already on a yellow card does another yellow card worthy offense. So I was going to not throw him a bone, but say maybe that's why he doesn't give the yellow card to Perisic there, because he was already on one. Again, it doesn't justify it, but maybe that at least explains it, where he didn't want to give him a red, but he's not on a yellow. Well, we're going to penalties again, but dude, and they haven't shown a replay of what should have been a foul on Fred outside of the Croatian area. I'm not listening to commentary anymore because I can't stand fucking Landon Donovan at times. All the American commentators just make me cringe. But I would wager they haven't mentioned that yet either. I mean, it's a good build. It's a great build up. It's a good goal with a great build up by Croatia to equalize. But it comes on the back of a foul that should have been awarded to Brazil. And again, you have several really good set piece takers for Brazil that would have absolutely fancied a free kick 19 meters from goal, slightly off of center to the right. Like that's well, if you're a left-footed player, it's fucking a dream ball placement, right? But even right-footed players would love that to go. They could go near post, up and over the wall. They can try to do the like sweeping technique. Here we go though. My boy Allison. My boy Allison. You see the kit in the background. My boy Allison. Handsome as fuck. Now, he's not like a noted penalty saver. He has saved penalties before for Liverpool. And he might go on and save 3 right here. I'm not like, but it's not, some goalkeepers are known as like penalty specialists, right? Sometimes they'll even get brought on if, like, let's say in a situation like this, in years past, you have seen time and time again situations where like a manager will sub on a goalkeeper in like the 119th minute for no other reason than for penalties. Now your fear is that goalkeeper goes and then has a blunder in the 120th minute before penalties are even happening, and then they cost. But anyways, that is a dynamic that some goalkeepers are penalties specialists and they could be brought on. So it's one of those like Allison isn't known to be bad with penalties. He's arguably the best goalkeeper in the world, so he's solid, good at stopping penalties, but he's not a specialist. I don't think any of the Brazilian goalkeepers would be considered penalty specialists though. Ederson definitely isn't. I shouldn't say definitely. He's anyways. And neither is Weverton. So we shall see. Croatia did not sub off Luka this time like they had in their round of 16 match. So he will be available for penalties here. Dude, Michael Oliver was absolutely abysmal throughout. Croatia will take first. Man, I'm torn. Obviously, Brazil features 2 Liverpool players, so I wouldn't mind them winning the whole thing for that purpose. I love Allison, so I definitely don't want him to be like bad here. Like he's so awesome. He's such a good dude. I absolutely don't want the Brazilian fans hating him for this. So I kind of want Brazil to win, but also everyone loves the underdog story. So Croatia winning and making it to a not like at least to another semifinal. You know, again they were runners up in 2018, would be incredible for them. And let's keep in mind that Brazil has 50 times the population of Croatia. So part of me wants Croatia to win, but at the same time, I do feel Brazil there again. Michael Oliver was terrible throughout, so I don't want to just hand pick one instance. But it's a lot easier. It's a lot more likely for a person to bring up one instance when it's like that, where Brazil should be awarded a free kick on one end. It's not given, and then the opposing team goes down the field on the subsequent possession, and then they score. It's always going to be more of a point of contention, I believe. All right, Croatia's up first, standing over the ball. Can't tell who it is yet. He plays it right down the middle. Allison goes right. He goes right down the. Allison goes right. The taker goes through the middle up, and it's good. So that was Vlasic. All right, it's 1-0. I'm not going to do all fancy graphics real quick, but Croatia's up 1-0. Saved. Rodrigo takes it. It's not a good penalty. I mean, he goes up and he tries to strike it with power, but it's a comfortable height for the Croatian goalkeeper. It's damn sure not near enough to the corners. I mean, if you're a goalkeeper and you start in the dead middle, he only like he saves it like here. Like he didn't have to full stretch. Hell, if he had full stretched, it would have been one of those. He probably would have saved it with his shin or his knee or something like that. I mean, it's a comfortable height and it's not near enough in the corner. All right, Croatia 1-0 on the second kicker. One 0 Croatia. Down the middle again. Allison dives right again. Croatian hits it. The first one hits it middle up. This one hits it middle low. Don't do this to my boy Allison, because you know how fans can be of like a rabid fan base in any sport, regardless of what level it's at. But like Brazilian fans are one of those rabid. Wow, when they show Brazilian women in the crowds, my heart stops. I lose my train of thought. Um, Casemiro up, down. He needs to make this. Oh, filthy fucking pin from Casemiro. That goalkeeper guesses the right way. It doesn't matter. Struck with enough force, enough in the corner. Um, Buried from Casemiro. So it's 2-1. Croatia. We're on the third takers. God, that's a dispatched from Casemiro. Is he handing the ball to his former teammate? That was so. Casemiro, after scoring, is walking with the ball and he's going to hand it to the next Croatian penalty taker. Oftentimes, you might think there's some like antics there. They might be trying to like squish the ball or fuck with the ball, so it's a tougher penalty. But Casemiro and Modric were Real Madrid teammates for years. They won everything that you can win together. I highly doubt Casemiro was unsportsmanlike in that moment. Modric buries it. So this time, Allison guesses to his left. Luka goes to the keeper's right, where Allison had dove the first two pins. And it scores comfortably. Even it would have been. It's not entirely in the corner, but it would have needed a good full stretch save had Allison guessed the right way. So it's 3-1 to Croatia. Brazil's third is taking it. But the Brazilian fans shouldn't hate fucking my boy Allison, regardless of what happens here. You like my thing is a goalkeeper should rarely be the villain after a penalty. You shouldn't expect them to make any save, right? A penalty is essentially a free throw in basketball. Now, while neither are 100% success rate, they're intended to favor the attacking team, right? The offensive team. So if anything, it should be Rodrigo who gets the slack. I hope it wouldn't be any of them, but anyway, it should be Michael Oliver. He fucked up. That was a foul, and it's not only a foul, it's a yellow card offense, maybe even a red. I'd have to see it again, but it's a scissoring action on Fred, which is a dangerous challenge in and of itself. You could also argue he was last defender. Hold on. Barry, dude. Wow, a damn near perfect penalty right there by that Croatian. That Croatian goes Allison's right. Allison dives to his right, guesses the right way, but it is absolutely in the corner, side netting, full stretch. Allison doesn't even come close to saving it. So it's 4-2 for Croatia. Brazil's fourth is coming up. Obviously, he has to make this. It's Marquinhos. He has to make this. Just to extend it, mind you. And then they would need a save on Croatian's fifth. I want to see him make this and Allison save the next. That's over. He hits the post. Goalkeeper goes the wrong way. Goalkeeper goes to his left. Marquinhos goes to the keeper's right. He strikes it super well, and it's one of those, I'm sure if you go back and look at it with like a fine-tooth comb, it's a few centimeters. It's a few centimeters. It's all that's there. If it's a centimeter or two further in, it hits off of the cylinder, caroms in for a goal, almost certainly. And it's the fine margins with like a cylindrical post, right? I mean, it's an inch further in, and it probably hits the post, goes in for a perfect penalty. But it's just that bit more centrally on the post, and then it just it hits it and comes right back out. Comes right back out. Just boom. I really, as cool as the underdog story is, and again, I don't really want to call them an underdog. They are the runners up. Croatia's the runners up. So this is a finals appearance and then a semifinals for back-to-back years, further cementing Luka Modric as one of the best midfielders of all time. Top 6, 7, 8 midfielders of all time. That's classy. As I was talking, Casemiro went and handed the ball to Luka, his former teammate. They just had a really good, respectful sportsmanship embrace there. And even though it was one of those where even though Luka was the one that won, he almost, you can feel that he feels bad for Casemiro there, because he is like, it almost looks like Modric's the one that's crying and really upset. It goes to it though. So Rodrigo, the classic conversation, right? Where do you put your best penalty takers? For the longest time, one of the general rules of thumb is you put them as your fifth, because that's the deciding one, right? And you want your best to take that. But as we saw with, who was it, Portugal in the Euros in 2012, maybe. But one of the Euros, maybe it was a World Cup. Portugal was in a major international competition. They were in the knockout rounds and they went to penalties. And Ronaldo was slated to be their 5th taker, and it never got to him. Between saves and misses in the first 4, never got to him. You'd never let your best penalty taker even take it under that strategy. I bring that up now because Neymar didn't take a penalty. Neymar was still on the field, still eligible to, like, he wasn't subbed off, but he never got to take a penalty because surely he was slated to be Brazil's 5th. But when Rodrigo limp dicks the first one and it's an easy save, and then Marquinhos has his carry him off the woodwork, Neymar never gets a chance. And you almost want to throw a bone to Marquinhos because Rodrigo's fuck up, and it's a terrible penalty by Rodrigo, the pressure becomes so much on Marquinhos. Now, again, it's a penalty. He should make it. You can argue, right? But it's hard not to in that moment when you play for a country that has so much expectation and the weight that they have. And then it comes to you as the 4th penalty taker, knowing that you have to make it just to extend it. Just to extend it. Not even to win it. It's enough pressure to make it and you win it. But you have to make it to extend it. You're going to try to make it. You know what I mean? You're going to go that extra bit. And that is, you look at Marquinhos' penalty, and I tell you, it's decided by a couple centimeters, right? You can argue that those extra centimeters are directly correlated to the extra pressure that was put on him because Rodrigo's shitty penalty meant that Marquinhos had to make that, right? So, anyways, it's crazy. Tiny margins, dude. Rodrigo, terrible penalty, puts all the pressure on Marquinhos. He almost has a flawless penalty, but a couple millimeters left means it hits in the center of the cylinder, comes back out. Couple centimeters inward, it caroms off, and it's a goal. But it really goes back. I would love to see that foul not given on Fred. Brazil has the ball. It comes to Neymar's feet. Neymar feeds a through ball onto Fred, who had made a run, had broken from midfield, and looks likely to get on the end of that. And if he does, he could strike it first time for a clear-cut chance. If with that defender coming in as recklessly as he did, essentially scissoring Fred, you can argue that if that goes like wrong and he misses it entirely, Fred is through with a high quality chance, not just a clear cut, but a high quality chance. But yeah, Michael Oliver fucked that up. I'm not even trying to be too pro Brazilian. I'm happy for Croatia. Again, Brazil has 50 times the population of Croatia. So remarkable achievement by a true footballing nation. Really impressive, but you can't help but think Michael Oliver fucked that up. That is absolutely a foul and should have been a Brazilian free kick. And then Croatia gets the ball and they go right down the field and score and equalize. And how about Croatia taking their first 2 penalties down the middle? Allison goes right, Croatia goes middle. Allison goes right, Croatia goes middle. Allison goes left, Modric goes right. But notice, Modric took the third. I've always said this, and when I coached, nothing special, just locally, travel ball, things like that, I had my best be third. Because I think that's the perfect medium ground, right? I think mathematically, I think you're guaranteed to always be given the third, right? So if your opponents miss or make both of the first 2 and you miss both of the first 2, yeah, you're always guaranteed the third. You're guaranteed your third penalty. So I've always put it, because when I started coaching, it was after that Portugal thing I alluded to earlier, where Ronaldo never even got to take one because he was slated to be the 5th one. So when I started coaching was after that. So I had that in mind. But I would never have wanted to put my first one, my best penalty taker, as the first guy either. Because I felt like it left too much on the back end. So I only had to coach in 4, maybe 5 penalty shootouts. But in all of them, I had my best, who I deemed my best, to be 3rd. He's guaranteed to take one, and it's not too early where too many bad things can, you know what I mean? So, anyways, we have another example, and it's going to reignite the conversation of where your best penalty taker should take it. I think we've had enough examples in the last decade to just rule out the again, for probably 100 straight years, 140 straight years since the beginning of this game's invention. The standard rule of thumb was you have your best as the 5th. And I think in the last decade, we have seen that that should not be the strategy anymore. I don't care if it, I don't even, is there even evidence that it worked for the previous 100 years, you know? So, anyways, I think that conversation will absolutely get reignited. That your best penalty taker should not be 5th. Because in this instance, Neymar didn't even get to take one. You keep him on for 120 minutes. You keep in mind, this man is coming off a really gross looking ankle injury, right? That thing was swollen like a fucking softball, right? Like a coconut, dude. Absolutely swollen, where you're worried when you first see images is like, is he going to even become available for the rest of the World Cup? And he makes a great recovery to be ready for the round of 16 match. And then you would like to think that Brazil would have been able to sub him off, knowing he's coming back from an ankle injury, to preserve him for any potential semifinal and or final match. But the reason you keep a player like Neymar, who is coming back from injury, on for 120 minutes is because you absolutely want him to take a penalty. So then to put him as your 5th penalty taker and him not even get a chance to, again, that's Neymar and Ronaldo in the last decade that have not gotten to take a penalty in a knockout round of a major international tournament for their nation. Hashtag best penalty taker goes 3rd. All right, I'm going to end this stream and I will pick back up in about an hour for the Argentina Netherlands game. I wish I had viewers, dude. I'd love to be able to